Hey guys, you're here with Credit Connector, and you're also here with the community. We're going to be joined today by several guests, hopefully, and we already have our first person in the chat, Josh. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we can answer you all your questions tonight. Plus, we have some gems. I have a little bit of hacks, and I'm going to drop at the end. Let me bring our first guest. You guys probably know him.
Hola, Jackie. How you doing, my love?
Good. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, my love. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Let's bring our next guest, the one and only.
Hey, Jackie. Hey, Joe. It's good, y'all.
What's up, JP? Dr. Buffett in la casa.
I hope Eddie's in the chat.
So how's everybody tonight?
Let me tell you, I left 16 degrees for 67 degrees in Florida. I'm in Palm Coast. And even though people are like, I was wearing a t-shirt, they were like, oh, it's cold. I was like, are you kidding me? I left 16 degrees. I'm good right here, right now. So it's all good.
That's why people move to Florida for that weather.
No, I just got back from a trip to Prague, so I was in basically 16-degree weather in both places. So not much change for me.
Yeah, I'd rather be here in the sunny. And thanks. I think we got Juan Garcia. Good evening, Jackie, Joe, and Dr. Buffett.
Going on, Juan.
So what did you guys, I was thinking today because I had a lot of people asking me questions about different Chase cards and different hacks with the Chase cards. One of the questions they were asking me is when you can reallocate on the business side, from one credit card to another credit card. That was one of the questions I had. Another question that they were asking me is, some of you guys are, have traveled a lot, or basically considered travel hackers. What did you guys think of the Air Canada card? If you can transfer those points into Emirates and fly, to either Dubai or one of those countries. Those were questions they were asking me on the Chase. And they were also asking me if you already met your limit, the $250,000 threshold they have, but you want a new card with Chase, what are the options? So I got a hack for them, but I want to hear what you guys say.
$250,000. I even know they had a $250,000 limit. Jesus.
An exposure limit on the credit card part.
Okay, that makes sense. Do I hit that joke?
You could take it. You could start.
Well, this is new to me in terms of the 250,000 limit. If that's a hard limit, I wouldn't really think there's much you can do. Maybe like if you can basically call, if you're getting denied for cards, I would say basically call them and reallocate some credit limit to another card. I don't think having that high of a limit is unless you're have a business or something like that. I'm not sure if that's actually useful for you for for day-to-day purchases. That's what I would say, at least on that front. What was the other? There was another question related to.
The other question was, I guess they want to know if you can reallocate, from one card to another, the business side. What would be the advantage as well?
I don't have any Chase business cards, but I know you can reallocate on the personal side. So I think you could also reallocate on the business side. But with that, I would say the advantages can be a couple. One, if you're trying to reach a certain type of intro bonus, if they have you at a lower limit, you can transfer some over and hit that bonus faster. I would say maybe you want to have a certain card be your main business card, so you want to have a higher allocation on that end. That would be an advantage. Those would be the advantages of doing it. But I definitely think, given how, also, I don't know, this wouldn't really matter for the business side, but I know for the personal side, for the Chase Sapphire Preferred, for example, if you want to upgrade to the reserve, you need a $10,000 limit for that. So to upgrade to the reserve, I don't think you need it on the business side, but also for example, the Boundless card, to upgrade to the Ritz Carlton, you need a $10,000 limit. to basically reach the Visa Infinite status or whatever that's for. But yeah, I don't know about the business side. Maybe Joe might have a.
So I did the business side,
Mhm.
and I have reallocated. Chase basically tends, when you open your first ink card, to give you the higher limit, and unless you have a business that really is into a lot of spend, then they would continue to give you higher limits. But for me, because I really don't have that type of business where it's selling things, they kind of scale back. So what I did was reallocate within my business cards. I have two ink cash with them, and I have an ink unlimited with them. The second ink cash I got was an ink preferred at one point that had the highest limit, and I really wasn't finding that I was using the point multipliers for them. So I shut that one down and product changed it back to another ink cash, and I was able to move the limits around. So they do allow you to do um, limit changes within the same product line. The only card issuer out there that allows you to do it from personal to business and business to personal is Barclays. Barclays allowed me to move some money from my $35,000 JetBlue line to my Wyndham Business Earners line. I was able to move $5,000 over. So not every bank does it. You know, they won't let you go from personal to business and back and forth, but Barclays does. Chase allows you to do it within the same family of business or personal cards.
So, Joe, I have a quick question because I just want you to clarify this for me if you know. Does Barclays also require, not require, don't they, do they also post the utilization for business cards? Because I know there's one bank that does that.
Barclays is a royal pain in the neck, to be kind, to get a business card. It took me 3 months. Like literally, I've never had a bank that asked me to fax them. I couldn't even upload. It was fax. I had to go to Staples and fax them paperwork to approve me for the first card, the Wyndham Business Earners card. But, you know, Barclays is the harder one. Most other banks, Chase, Bank of America, Amex, they're not as difficult.
Okay.
Yeah. So, piggy banking on what you said, Joe, you're correct about the ink. So my first ink card was 55,000, and the second one was 16,500. So what I did was I basically used the first 12 months interest free. Once that was over, what I did is I applied for my second card, and then I reallocated my $55,000 into my $16,000. And then I had another 12 months with 70 something thousand dollars, which is good if you want to inject that money into a business, or, you know, if you need that kind of money interest free, because even if you get a loan for a year or 2 years or 3 years, because you need it for your business, you're not going to get a 12-month interest free. So for me, this is a great gem. Also, Buffer, you said it correctly when I asked you about the cards. If you already reach your threshold, Chase does give you that opportunity. If you call them and you have another card with a lot of money, but you want a card because you want to use that card for travel, and you can reallocate that, and then they would go ahead and open that new card. So, I mean, Chase has a lot of good things. And, you know, if you like going into travel and all that, there's a lot of benefit out there for it. What did you guys think about the Air Canada card? Have any of you guys transferred the points like that?
I have not looked. I'll give this to Joe because I haven't actually looked into the Aeroplan card at all. So that's not really something I've really spent much time looking at.
Yes, I don't have the Aeroplan card either, because right now I guess I call it grazing. Some people call it gardening, but you know, I've been doing a lot of product changing because I don't want to continue to add to my cards. I mean, right now I have 28 active cards in 2.5 years or so. It's a lot. And, you know, I'm focusing right now. I'll share this here because I have another video coming out. But I got rid of a card, the Marriott Bonvoy Business, and I got the Delta Business Gold from Amex. So I'm actually in Florida right now, and I'm waiting to get that card mailed to me in New Jersey. So, I don't have Aeroplan, but my understanding is for the people that do have Aeroplan, that it's a great card to have because sort of like ANA, you can fly cheaper by using those points through their partner programs. So if you have that card, it's a good card to have because you're going to be able to fly for a lot cheaper than you would using, let's say, an American Airlines card, booking through them directly. The travel partners are cheaper.
So I wonder on that front, given that one Air Canada or Aeroplan is a transfer partner to both American Express and Chase. So would that make the card? Because I haven't really looked at the card too much, but would that kind of in your mind make it kind of, I wouldn't say obsolete or not a card to get, but kind of redundant?
Well, here's the thing: if you have a card that accepts or a program that accepts two different currencies. So I'll give you the example. Marriott, right? Chase has Marriott, Amex has Marriott. If you're able to stack those points from each currency into your Marriott Bonvoy account, you're ahead of the game. Because then whether you're using Chase or whether you're using Amex, you're ahead of the game because you're able to put in points from two different places, which isn't usually commonplace. So for me, if I had that Aeroplan card, without a doubt, I would keep it because I'm able to stack the points from two different ecosystems to utilize that for travel, which is huge.
Right. That's what I'm saying,
you're not pigeonholing yourself,
Right. But I'm saying in terms of, I guess you're mainly talking about the perks on the card. Because if the card in terms of gaining points, if the goal of the card is to gain points, I would consider that easier with an Amex Gold or with a Chase Sapphire, any of the Chase, card lines. For example, the Freedom Flex or the Sapphire, for example.
So you're saying just having the program, being a part of the program, and just transferring points from each ecosystem as opposed
to right.
And I get that, but remember, the value is always in that first year. So if there's a great bonus, why not? Right now, there's a big push for Alaska Airlines, right?
Right.
Alaska has been promoting a lot. They're pushing a lot. Right now, I think there's 70,000 miles. So something like Alaska would be great to have in your pocket when you're doing this because you're getting all those miles up front, especially if you were a Hawaiian card holder or a Hawaiian program, because right now they're combined. That's a win for you,
That's fair.
Yeah.
See, it says here, Filmo, look at Filmo's comment. Aeroplan card is Chase's best grocery card. Now, I don't know what their multipliers are, but
I think
Filmo has such an extensive collection of cards that I don't know why Filmo still hasn't put out his video, Filmo. But nonetheless, I'm going to hold him to his feet to the fire. I'm going to call him out on his crap. Right now, Filmo, you should just say what the multipliers are, coño. But those are cards. Here's the thing, and the three of us on the screen right now know. When you get to the point where you have as many cards as we do, right? You have to really be careful what the next steps are. We could apply for whatever, but I've gotten to that point in my life where I don't just want to apply for whatever. It has to have some sort of meaning and value to me.
Yeah.
So I might be holding out, let's say, for the Built card with mortgage because I don't rent. I might hold out for that. I might hold out for a Capital One Venture X. For the first time in a year, they offered me the Venture for Good credit, which they could kick rocks because I'm not doing that. But it's getting better, let's say, on that end, right? So at this point in our lives, for those of us that have many cards, we have to be smart how we go about applying for them and in what instances we actually pull the trigger and do it. So Filmo says here he's doing 3 points on grocery. Okay, that's great. You know, and Cole Milani says, Joe going at Filmo. I love Filmo. Filmo knows I love him. I just wanted to know what the hell the answer was. Filmo, I love you. Not because I'm in Florida, Filmo, but
something I want to tell you guys, since you guys mentioned Barclay. So in 2008, my credit went downhill when the market hit, the houses went into, the recession, all that. And like a year ago, I was applying for one of the Barclays cards and it came back denied. My credit was at that point at 8 something. I couldn't understand. It told me that, there was something bad in my credit. And I'm like, this is kind of weird. Let me call. So 2008, I guess I had a card from them. I don't remember which card, but Barclay was the bank. And I am still blacklisted.
Yeah, they got that long memory.
This is some real truth, guys. So if you ever don't pay this card, you're going to be on their blacklist forever. So just being real. So that's not a card you want to mess around with. Yeah, I wanted to get it basically for, the points. But I was surprised, to be honest, when I got that letter with the denial.
There are some card issuers that are just, they really are tight with their stuff. And Barclays, like I said earlier, that was a different. So my first business card ever was with American Express Blue Business Plus. I thought it was going to be a slam dunk with Wyndham, with the Barclays card. And my God, I started the process in February. I didn't get approved until May. So it was a royal pain in the butt to get them. But I get it. The way things are now, that's how it is. You can't fault them for that. But, there's a difference. And I want people to understand that when you apply for a business card, I know a lot of us in this space apply for cards to get the maximum bonuses up front or to get the sign up and this and that. And we might use, if you don't have an LLC, you might do sole prop. But the reality is, if you really want to use the cards for what it's intended, and you have a legit business that's an LLC, let's say, it's smart to use the LLC first, which is what I did with Chase. And then I branched out. When I do my T-shirt merch, I use my Hola Mi Gente sole prop, so I could keep that separate. So I do that on purpose because for tax purposes, I don't want to lie. I don't want to get caught. I don't want to scam the system. Yep. But a lot of people don't realize that, they're like, oh, you could do it even if you have a side hustle. I hate the term side hustle because that just means that you're trying to get over.
Right.
But the reality is I have an LLC and I do these other things and I have a pension from New York and I'm not going to mess that up. I'm going to make sure I do things by the book. That's as simple as that.
Yep. You're 100% correct. And I mean, there's a lot of people, that do actually are running a business and they could have an LLC, but they don't realize it because people that are out there doing, dog grooming, nails, Uber, Lyft, they are actually running some type of business.
Right.
And, they could get the tax benefit as well. But yeah, you're 100% correct. And then unfortunately, everything has gotten so difficult. You guys, I said the story about what happened to me with Bank of America. It was something so dumb, just trying to help some people, and I got kicked out. Within a week, I got $45,000 shut down with Bank of America. First for adding some authorized users, and then it just triggered something in the algorithm. And then my next card was shut down as well. So, and I still have my business, one of my businesses there, the LLC, running with Bank of America. But yeah, they're not playing anymore. They're there to see what's going on, and they're going to close your card, or they're going to, downgrade those limits.
Well, I was reading just now, and maybe you guys saw the same thing on a lot of different posts from Doctor of Credit, Danny the Deal Guru. Amex is shutting down a lot of their cards, not just business cards, but personal cards.
Mm.
So what they're doing is, and the telltale is, you know how you add cards to your wallet, whether it's Apple Wallet or Samsung, or Google Wallet, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
They're shutting that down because what they're realizing is one person, for instance, had a business and they used their 99 card limit to kind of manufacture that spend,
Yeah.
and they shut it down. So they go in waves. And from what I understand, even as of this afternoon, like at 2 o'clock, when I read the last one, they were still really going hard at people that were trying to game the system. And people have to realize that, you really run a risk for yourself and everybody else that you're adding on these cards in trying to game the system. Algorithms are set in place for a reason, and they're going to monitor what you're doing. So it's foolish to think you're going to get over if that's the case.
Yeah. So that you said, Joe, that makes a lot of sense. I've heard, since I'm in different mentorships, and you're 100% correct. There's somebody that spoke about a hack like that with American Express. And what they do is they don't even add people. They use it, let's say, Jackie 1, Jackie 2, Jackie 3, Jackie 4 with American Express. Or they go and they use the manufacturer spending, where they go and they buy something with the American Express, and they can either put it on their phone, and then they come back and they return it, and they use the Apple Pay so the teller doesn't see it, and it goes right back to your debit card. So of course they don't understand that everything you buy, if it's a gift card, whatever it is, they can see it.
Mm.
They might let you slide a little bit, but they're going to come after you because they can see it. They can see everything that you purchase. Doesn't matter what it is. And a lot of people, they don't care. I don't want to lose any credit. I want to have the credit there, so when I need it, I do want to have it available. If it's for a business or something comes up, I want to have the credit. I want to be able to use the points to go on nice trips, because if not, I probably couldn't afford those nice trips every 3 or 4 months going somewhere if I didn't have all my points. So I definitely am a believer that you should use credit the right way. I mean, you can play with the interest-free 21 months, 12 months, you can reallocate it, but for me, manufacturer spending would be out of the question.
I agree with you, Lisa. I think that, for instance, right now I shut down the American Express Marriott Bonvoy business. I had a $20,000 limit with them, or 25, but I wasn't using the card. So I shut that down and got the Amex Delta Business Gold card. And the reason I did is because I want to try to use Delta more, and the benefits that Delta give outweigh what the Marriott card was giving me. So when they went to give me back the card, I didn't get the same amount of credit offered to me, which is fine.
Right.
But I needed a card that I could actually use. And the Marriott Bonvoy business wasn't really giving me anything. So, I decided to pivot and just, change the card out, cancel it with Amex, and be able to get the next card, because Amex has their rule with the number of cards you can have. Yep. With a credit line, not necessarily with a charge card, right, but with credit they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Also with Chase, if you ever have a Chase card and you don't pay it back, or you have like a line of credit with them, like a business loan or something, if you don't pay that back, you might in the future get once you fix your credit and all that, you might get another Chase card, but you will never get another BLOC. So these are things that even if 10, 15, 20 years pass, they're going to come back and haunt you. So, I always try to use credit wisely. Sometimes, like everybody else, I have impulse and I buy something. I'm like, why did I spend that on the credit card? Like, that was dumb. But, I always try to use my best judgment.
But JP, here's the thing: you and Lisa are in your 20s, so I'm going to give you that. You guys got 20 years thinking about that. You know, I'm 58. You know, I don't know if I had that same amount of time left, but you know, I get what you're saying, Jackie. You know, the thing is that what we do today, we don't realize how it's going to affect tomorrow.
Yep.
And we need to be cognizant of the fact that, you know, we can't just, it's not a game. People like to game the system, but what they don't realize is that the system is not stupid and they're not always going to get gamed. It's as simple as that. So, you know, we have to be careful with how we do our things. And that's why lately I've done more diversification amongst my cards, because if one card decides to pull the rug out from under me, I still got the other ones, right? So, you know, this is something that I think a lot of people should do, even if it's one card. Like I only have one Citi card, which is a Citi Strata Premier, but it still gives me the option that I could flip out from if Amex decides to be a jerk and pull the cards from under me, or Chase or whatever. I have Wells Fargo as well. I have, you know, so those are the things that I want to do. And I think people have to understand there's something important about diversification. So what do you guys think about that?
What do you think?
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I am very cautious when it comes to how I use my cards, even when I first got in. Well, not when I first got in. My first got in was a bunch of debt, anyways. But recently, over the past, I would say 3-4 years, it's really been, you know, use the cards the way they were kind of, I guess, like designed to be used, because like they made the game. The game is like, you know, you know, these people created the game, so they know they can change and bend the rules. I'm just playing by whatever these rules are. You know, I think, for example, with sludges, like you know, upgrade, downgrade thing, it's like it's in the rules, so that's the game you can play by. But once that, you know, those aren't the rules anymore, you try to like skirt around it. You know, I just don't like doing stuff like that. So I think definitely, you know, like really being cautious about how you use credit. You know, who you give your line of credit to. I think that's also pretty important, and stuff like that, because it goes. I think for me, it goes beyond just the credit cards. You know, credit is bigger than just the cards. It's you know, getting a home, getting a car. You know, like in some instances, you know, getting a job. So I think it's very important to really, you know, think wisely about how you use it. Besides, outside of just, you know, the travel aspects of it, more so just like the daily, you know, basic daily life. So I definitely agree with you, Joe.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. And there's a good question like, what is credit? Credit is something different for everybody. Credit for me is having my house, my car, being able to travel, you know, being able, when I have an emergency, to be able to, you know, take care of my emergency. And it's so many things. And people get their first credit card, they blow it on whatever it is, and they don't realize, they don't see the big picture. You know, yeah, they might get that car, but they're going to pay, instead of maybe they could have paid 9.9 interest, they're going to end up paying 20 something percent, you know, because a lot of dealers do give you the car, but because it's collateral, if you don't pay for it, they're going to come and pick it up. But don't realize, they're like, oh, well, my credit is not that bad, or I have credit. I see that all the time. Since I get patients approved, they're like, I have credit. I bought a car last week. Guess what? When I try to get them approved, they're not approved. They don't understand that. You know, if you don't pay your car, we're picking it up. If you don't pay your dentures, we cannot go in your mouth and pick up that denture. So, you know, so, but they don't see the big picture. And that's a big problem that a lot of people have here in America. Unfortunately, you know.
And the other thing I want to kind of add on to that, kind of piggyback on what you guys both said, is like it goes beyond credit itself in terms of like good financial habits.
Yep.
I mean, credit is one aspect of a good financial habit, but being able to understand your cash flow, being able to understand to spend below your means, and like you can allocate your credit, but like if you keep allocating your credit, if you keep using your credit, say, oh, I have, you know, this, I can spend this, I can spend this, but you have a negative cash flow, eventually you're going to end up in debt. So I think really understanding that like credit is one aspect of my net worth and how I'm bringing money in and how I'm using my money and whatnot. So I think that's pretty important aspect to think about.
I love that you said that because people get it twisted. You could have a buttload of credit available to you, but if you can't pay that back, then you're just killing yourself. Like
Right.
I tell people, yeah, I have literally between personal and business credit about $250,000 available to me in a car on cards. I could buy a car, but I got to pay that back. So you have to be smart about how you go about things. And that's why every once in a while, people need to realize that you need to really take ownership and stock of what you've done, where your money goes, how you're using it, where you're charging. If you have cash in your pocket, buy the damn loaf of bread and the 12 eggs that you're trying to buy for $12, then putting it on a card to get a point. Sometimes, you know what? The points are overrated because then if you don't pay that points that you're getting in advance, now you're paying interest on that and it's stupid. So now you're paying $15 for that dozen eggs instead of 12. It just, some things you really need to put it into perspective.
Yep.
Like I don't charge everything. I just don't because I'd rather have the cash in my pocket and pay for something right then and there than avoiding that if I only send a minimum payment or if I only send whatever, I'm behind now.
Yep.
And people have to realize that's a real thing. We're not just saying that because we're on live on a YouTube channel. It's the honest to God truth. If you're not on the grind and checking your stuff out, you're going to pay for it.
Yep.
Sorry, I just want to put one last thing. I want to plug in for this app I'm using. I know people have used Mint before, but Mint's obviously not around anymore. There's an app I've been using maybe for the last 6-7 months called Copilot Money, and literally it has been one of the best things for me in terms of knowing what my money I bring in is, what money I bring out is, basically putting all of that into one location. It's basically like Mint, but I think more supercharged. So if you're really trying to get your finances, your budget back in order, I would say really look into apps like Copilot or something like that. But sorry, Jackie, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm going to look into it.
No, and I know Mint is no longer available, but Rocket Money is something that also shows you different things when you have subscriptions, when you have things that you might forget about, it reminds you. But I'm looking now at the chat here, and Boxer saying that's why he's building, across all ecosystems and not get a card that you don't use and you're not on a welcome offer hunt. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not on a welcome offer hunt. I'm not. I'm going to be keeping it 100 because I have so many Amex cards. I might look for the best bonus offer on an Amex card with no lifetime language, right? But anything else, I want to make sure that I'm going to get a card that I'm going to actually be able to use as intended. So for Delta, I'll give you guys an example. I flew Newark to Jacksonville United yesterday. Got a great deal. I used my United Club card, 9 times per dollar, $200 first class. Can't beat it. Done. But I went and got the Delta business card because I realized that if I fly from Newark, I can go into Charlotte, one stop for like 45 minutes, but then fly into Daytona, which is actually only 20 minutes away from my house as opposed to an hour and a half from Jacksonville. So I want to see how that works for me. Because even if let's say I don't have somebody to pick me up, I can take an Uber for 20 minutes and pay that as opposed for an hour of an Uber ride, which is going to be astronomical, right? So those are the things that I want to try. So Boxer, I thank you for that. I really appreciate that you said that because it doesn't always have to be the bonus hunt. A lot of people say, yeah, you get your first value, your true value in the first year. And I get that. But if you're going to get a card that you can actually use as intended, that meets the multipliers that you use on a daily basis, that's a slam dunk. There's no way a redemption, a one hit of points is going to be better than a lifetime of points of you using the card. It's just never going to match. So people have to realize that.
Yes.
Thank you for that, Boxer.
I wanted to thank our brother Slay for the super chat, and he couldn't be here with us. I believe that he's actually today with the 850 Club. I think he's
Yes.
doing like a 3-day challenge talking about business, I believe. So we miss him today. I wanted to say something, Joe. I had a friend that he ran a funding business, and he grew it. It was over $1 million a year. He sold it, and he's in his 20s, very smart person. It wasn't doing nothing for him as a person because he says that 80% of the people would come back a year after looking for more funding. He's like, what did you do with the money? Like, what happened? It was for a business. Most people were back in worse debt, and he just felt that his conscience couldn't take it. So he thought he was helping some people at the beginning, and he felt at the end that this is just not for me. These people are not spending the money right. They're not using it for the business. So, everything we're talking about is really important when it comes to credit and your behavior. Yep.
Thank you for that, Jackie. Boxer says, Joe, I do not believe in that. Let's use the gold card. I eat enough out just to swallow the credits. Yo, Boxer, I swear to God, that's why people don't believe me. I canceled the gold card after 30-something years because there was no value in it. And like I was honest enough to tell you guys a few minutes ago, I got the card again because I would be stupid not to accept 30,000 membership rewards points for $1,000 spend. Just do the math, right? So Boxer, I'm 100 with you, but the reality is there's certain card issuers that you might have a little bit more leeway, right? Amex gives you that leeway. Chase, not as much as Amex, but still gives you enough leeway with their co-branded cards and their business cards. Capital One can suck it because they're just hard. If you're in a position like us, there's just no rhyme or reason to how they figure out how you're going to get the cards, right? Well, I actually told somebody the other day that is new to the game. I said, apply, don't get the saver card. If you want the Venture X eventually, get it now because they don't have the same thing that Amex does where you have to start at the bottom and keep working your way up to get the points. Capital One doesn't work that way. Get what you can now and then get what you can later. So, I'm telling that from experience. I mean, I've had credit cards since I was 19 years old. So I'm going on 40 years of this, so, I'm being honest with you. I know what works and what doesn't work.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to, and before I forget what I was going to say, I just want to kind of like piggyback on what you were saying, Joe, in terms of the value you get. I remember when I first got into like watching YouTube videos on credit cards and stuff like that. People talk about like, oh, it's obviously, get in the first year, which I agree with. I do think you get great value in the first year. But my thing has always been on, can I make this last past the first year? And after I start asking myself, like, do I eat at this Dunkin' Donuts, or do I got to do this, or can I flip this to do that? Like, while I will say I do enjoy that from like just like my like love of doing that, I don't think especially people I've talked to, they don't think about like, oh, I'm doing all these extra things. So I think the thought process of like, yes, you can do something, but do you actually do it? Is a question you have to ask yourself. Like if you say like, yeah, I can go to Dunkin', or yeah, I can use the Resi, but like, were you going to do that already? Or like, do you find value out of doing that? I guess that's what the first year in terms of testing it is. But like, if after that first year you say like, well, I don't actually do this that much, or I actually like it's a chore to go do these other things. I think at that point it's okay to say like, I'm going to cancel this card, or I don't need this card anymore, or I'm going to downgrade this card. So I really think like, yeah, you can justify it, but like, do you really want to? Was the question.
Yeah,
bro, you hit it right on the head. I downgraded my Amex Platinum because I already have the Amex Business Platinum. And I'm going to keep it real. I get more value from the Amex Business Platinum than I do the personal. That's just me. I use the Dell credit for all the crap we have to buy here to keep our channels moving, from lighting to mics to hardware to whatever, right? Plus, I still don't lose the statuses at the hotels. And we're going to get back 35% back on travel when you use them for points. So when I break it down, I'm getting more than the Walmart freaking $155 that they give you, right? For Paramount, because that's all I'm going to use is Paramount for it. I don't use their they took away Sirius XM, so I don't have anything I'm going to use for that either. So there's a lot of things that you really have to be honest with yourself and not just say, I have 50 cards, look how great I am. You have to say to yourself, I have these cards that I actually use. So in my wallet today, and in Florida, like I'm at right now, I have the club card from United because I flew United. I have the City Strata Premier. I have the Amex Gold bit that I could use at Publix supermarkets, which don't exist in Jersey, right? So different things like that I know I'm going to use, that's my go-to. To say I have a card because I want to flex is stupid.
Exactly.
It's just stupid.
Yep. JP, what you were saying, that's my problem. Like, I have all these cards and I'm like, even if I go to Dunkin' Donuts, I forget to use that card. And so it's like, right now, because I had that issue in December, I'm just waiting to clear everything up, but I'm definitely going to downgrade as well some cards because I'm not getting the benefit. Because I might go to that store or that restaurant or buy, but then I forget to use that card because it gets to the point that you have so many cards that you just don't know which card to use. And I'm not going to like go out with this, every day. So, that's keeping it exactly. That's keeping it real. So, we got to get our thin profile, and the other day, I don't know, my mom asked me, she's 86 and I needed to put her on the Lyft. And I'm like, wait, let me remember which card. Hold on, attach it. But, it's difficult. And there's some people that have the ability to track all that. I do not. Some people have 20 cards and they get the benefit from the 20 cards. That's not me. I normally get the benefit from the initial bonus, or like right now I'm using the bill card to pay my mortgage. So I'm racking up those points every month. But for me, it's difficult to keep, to have all that control. It just makes it very difficult.
What do you guys use for keeping track of your cards?
But I need something better.
So I was actually gonna like piggyback on what Jackie said. Actually, I appreciate that because I really feel like, and again, this is like one of the reasons why I like being on things like this or like making videos about it. Like, again, when I first started watching these type of videos, all you see is like, you can get this card, get that card, you're gonna go to this travel. I'm like, and then I think the one thing, and I'm not trying to, harp on it, because I know a lot of people like using it, but like, oh, you can use Max Rewards to get all your things and this and that. And I'm like, at that point, what am I doing? Like I'm adding in an extra purchase to, you don't have to purchase Max Rewards, but like to get the real value out of it, that's where it comes from. But a lot of people I talk to, they don't really want to do it. They just want to have a card or a couple of cards they can use to take their family on a trip somewhere, and that's it. But for me personally, I love, having to think about, oh, use the Lyft card for this, go down, get those. Like, literally, I'm telling my wife all the time, like, did you use this card to get that credit for, for Uber? Did you like, that's like, for me, it's like literally going in. But I understand, for other people, it's actually not that way. And they would prefer to have it, just something, streamlined and tailored. I think like having more, voices saying that, not just saying like, yeah, and I hate this, your mileage may vary, and just leaving it at that. Like, tell me what the mileage is. Like, give me some other scenarios besides your scenario to tell me what you thought about it for other people. I think like, and this is like one of my, And I hope Eddie's in the chat because this is like one of my pet peeves when it comes to the platinum card. People are, oh, the platinum card is great. I get lounge access, but not everybody is going to go to the airport 3 hours early to sit in the lounge. Some people just want to get through clear and just get on the plane. So let's
you
talk
are preaching.
about those people. Let's talk about those people.
I was telling Sledge today, yesterday, so real time, and I'm going to bring out my extra wallet, of course. But the United Club card, right? So I get to the airport of Newark. I go to the woman in the front before I get to TSA. And I said, okay, I have a first class ticket. It says for me to go through the priority lane for United. She's like, oh, no, we have separate airlines. There's no priority lane. And I'm looking at the door. There's a glass door that says Premier 1K, blah, blah, blah. And I said, that's where I have to go. No, you can't bite me. I went through the glass. I swiped my passport. I went right through to the front of TSA. Why? Because the United Club gives you the ability to go to the front and use a priority lane. And Newark is a United hub. I knew that. She didn't know that, right? So I carried this card. I haven't charged a damn thing on this card, keeping it 100. So this is what I brought with me, right? For that reason. I have the Venture X from Key, but there was no Capital One Lounge in Newark, but I have it just in case. The good old American Express Platinum business card, I keep with me just in case I decide to change plans and I'm going to get 5 times on travel. Chase Sapphire Reserve, in case they don't take Amex or Discover or any of the crap, I got this.
Now we flex it.
Right. And then this one, it looks like an American Express black card, but it's a sticker.
Wow.
This is the Citibank Strata Premier card. I got the sticker from Key. I swear to God, it's from Key. I used it today at BJ's here in Palm Coast. They opened up a new BJ's, and the guy goes, I said, no. It's not an American Express black card. There's no way. This shit bends. This is not that card. It's a sticker. But I keep it real. And then I have the gold card. Now, I kept this. People wonder why I haven't upgraded. And I still have the offer for 50,000 points if I spend 2,000 in 6 months. The reason I haven't is because I knew I was coming here. And at Publix and at other supermarkets and things of that nature, and dining out because I'm here for a week 4 times. It's stupid for me to give that up. I haven't been charged for the yearly fee yet for this card, and I got this in January. So why not hold on to it?
Exactly.
So I keep it real. I'll tell people I will carry what I'm going to use. I don't want a card to say I have a card. What good is that for me? Why pay $200, $300, $400, $500, $600 for a card to say it's a flex? No, it's stupid. It's plastic, bro.
You can flex on them, no. Just around the table.
No, what the hell?
JP, I think that was for you. Can you see the comment there?
Yeah. Like, I mean, exactly. Like I don't get it. I think one of the I would rather stick with an Amex Green or a card like that, unless I want to try another card out just to see if I like it. That's a different thing. But like when we're getting it because, like Joe was saying, we want to flex, or we want to show that we have the card, or we want to again, like I said earlier, say that we were in a lounge even though we don't really want to go to the airport that early. I know people who do not want to be at the airport that early, but they have the gold, or they have the platinum card, or they have a card that gives them lounge access, so they go there that early. It's just like what are you doing? I don't know. Let me stop.
JP, I'm that Puerto Rican guy that literally yesterday got to the airport 2 hours early, and I abused that lounge at United.
But that's great.
I had 3 drinks before I got on the flight because I was nervous about flying with all the crap that's happening now. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was texting Anthony. I was like, pray for me. I'm going on a flight. but to have the ability right? To have the ability to be able to relax, to then get on the flight, for me is huge because I'm not gonna lie, I've never been afraid to fly, but the way the last 3 weeks, the shit has hit the fan. Seriously,
No,
to see this
I
plane
agree.
flip
I
sideways
agree.
and be on his back, it's crazy.
I agree. I mean, when we were coming back, like the Delta thing was happening, so we were like on a KLM flight coming back, like, man, I hope this thing don't tip over. But like at the same time, what I'm saying is that like I agree with that. I think that is great, but I think like we're making a blanket, statement when we say, again, this is going back to the idea of your mileage may vary and not telling me what the varying might be. If you're a person with 3 kids who your kids don't want to get ready to go to the airport, like you might not have the time to go to that lounge, or you're not a business flyer, you fly once a year, that value of that lounge might be worth it to you, but at the same time it might not be. So I think like when we really, it's going back to like when we really think about like what is the actual, being honest with ourselves, what's the actual value I am getting out of this? Do I live in New York City? Okay, am I taking transit? Am I going through tolls? Am I going to restaurants? I might more value out of the green versus getting the platinum and staying in. Sorry, out of the green, and because I only fly maybe once or twice a year. Now we're out of the platinum because I got 5x on a flight. Like, let's be real about that.
You know what, JP? This is my green card.
That's blasphemy right there, man. What?
This is literally my Amex green. When I tell you this has been, and this is a lion card, mi gente, this card has had more points added to my bank than anything else. Because if you live in a metropolitan area, Jersey, for the love of God, everywhere you go, there's a toll. Everything gets put on this card, right? If I go on the turnpike, I'm going to get hit with a toll. It's here. If I cross the GW bridge at $18 a clip, it's going here, right?
Right.
And again, the restaurant even and dining out is only 3 times, so 1 point less than the Amex Gold. That's why I didn't have a problem ditching the gold, because this was giving me more bang for the buck at $150 as opposed to $325. So you already know when that fee hits for the $325, I'm going to upgrade to the platinum again and play the game, because there's no reason for me to hold on to the gold when this is only getting me a point less. Who cares? Right. And if this doesn't work, I'll use my City Strata Premier and get 3 points at a supermarket. Who cares?
Yep. No, you're 100% correct on everything. I mean, basically, like you said, like JP said about the lounge, I've been sometimes in the airport and I don't even realize there's a lounge because I am so like, my flight, when is it leaving, the luggage, just like, for me, it makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of people that fly all the time because that's what they do for a living. They live in the airport. So, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I'm not saying not to go to the lounge, but I don't remember where it was. It's the last flight that I went to Cabo, and I went upstairs to the lounge and there was such a big line. I'm like, forget this. I'm not even gonna, waste my time. Like, to get a free drink or to get food, it wasn't worth it to me. So, it all depends.
Can I have a hot take also?
Go ahead, puppy.
I went to I went to the Amex Lounge in JFK recently, and also like the one in Atlanta. The food's not that good. It's fine, but it's like the choices you have and like and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, maybe the drinks are good. I don't drink, so that's probably maybe why people go there. But like I'm seeing, I'm like, is this like yeah, it's paid for. I think the fact that like you versus the the food you would get outside the airport, I think like by default it's good. Yeah. But like when I before I started going into the lounges and whatnot, I was thinking like I'm gonna get some gourmet, made thing. I'm like it's gonna be all good. No, the reason I say that though is the first lounge I've ever been. So actually, when I had my green card, I had the lounge buddy credit. The first lounge I ever went to was the Virgin Atlantic Lounge in JFK Terminal 4. and they had a person basically come and bring you the food. It was hot and ready, bring you something to drink, like just order on the app. And that was my introduction to lounges. So like after seeing that and then going to any other lounge, I'm like, wait, where's the person bringing me my food? Where's the menu item? I gotta get up and walk over there. I gotta walk. Like what?
Walk and make the line.
You know.
So I was let's be real. Let's be real. Yesterday at United, I got some scrambled eggs, some sausage, and a muffin. Right? Bet that's like maybe $10 if you go somewhere in New York. The real value was I was so nervous. I had 3 Tito's with cranberry juice, and like I posted, I said I got my vitamin C because I was a nervous wreck at 11 o'clock in the morning. I was buzzed before I got on the flight. When the guy came by and I flew first class, I was like, "Would you like a drink?" I was like, "Coffee," because I was done in the morning. But you put the value of what you're going to get. So like when I fly back next week, I purposely flew back a later evening flight because I could use the lounge going back, right? So there's certain things that I do on purpose that normally I would have never thought that way, especially when if you're flying JetBlue like I've done, that doesn't give you a damn thing. They give you, pair of chips and a soda, so
yeah,
this is call it what it is.
JP, I think Chad has a
money. I'm gonna check that out. What's it called? I plan on upgrading my because I don't have access to. I guess you have it with priority pass one visit. But yeah, what's it called? I definitely want to check out that lounge thing because I need. Listen, man, I'm thinking when people tell me lounges and whatnot, I'm thinking of somebody bringing me some while I'm sitting down, not me, going to a buffet line.
Oh hell no,
having to wait for something.
No,
well, I mean, hey, Chad said I can find it in Boston, Sapphire Lounge, so I might have to check that out and see what I can get. Because man, the Virgin Lounge in Terminal 4 spoiled me, bro. I can't go back.
Bro, then you're gonna have to set your expectations a little low, okay? Because in some places you get hummus, some pita chips, and a Coke. I'm telling you right now.
Oh man.
That's crazy. Joe, don't feel bad about JetBlue. I thought I was a travel hacker when I was flying Spirits with my Spirits card.
See, I had no problem with JetBlue. My problem is that in JFK, where's their hub, there was no lounge. And when I went to NOLA in September, I wanted to shoot myself. There was somebody at 7 o'clock in the morning eating some nasty food they brought from home that smelled rotted. And then everybody had like the flu in September. I said, what am I doing here? I can't. It's not that I'm better than anybody else. I'm too old for this crap. I can't deal with it.
Hey, don't sell yourself short, Joe. You are better than them people.
Well, I love you, JP. You know that,
Oh, man.
Joe, let me ask you a question. Since Lisa's not here, we have put in the title about crypto and stocks. How's your crypto game going?
So crypto, guys, mi gente, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to warn you, if that's the only money you got, look elsewhere. Because there are days that I look at my Robinhood account and I'm like, oh, snap. And I'm going to keep it real 100. I put in $400 to keep it real. And actually, you know what? I'm going to do you one better. Let's see where it's at. This is going to show you where we're at live with what. So I put 400 in. I'm at 481.
Where'd you put it in?
So I made $81. Last week, it was 550. It's up and down. You got to play the long game. You have to play the long game. Don't use money that you're planning for something of value that you need and blah, blah, blah. This is what we call disposable income, mi gente. Don't screw yourself up by putting crap and saying, well, everybody's buying Ethereum. That's BS, because the reality is you're going to shoot yourself in the foot because you're going to be like, when you see that it went down $100 and you only put in 4, you're like, there goes a quarter of my money. Trust me, you want this to be your piggy bank money that you're playing with.
JP, you got any 2 cents on the crypto?
I personally don't do crypto. It's nothing against it. I think it's like definitely the blockchain idea is an interesting asset. Mm-hmm. My 2 cents on this, because I really haven't thought about talking about this topic much, but I know a lot of people when they look into crypto and say, oh, Bitcoin's at 100K or 95K or something like that right now.
It went up to 106.
Yeah, Ethereum's at 2,700 or whatever the number was at. Like these numbers in terms of prices are very interesting. But at the end of the day, I hope when people are looking at stocks to buy or even crypto to buy or whatever, look at what the market cap of that asset is, and not just the price. Because I think we look at, for example, I think what Dogecoin or something like that.
Yep.
Was that like what I say? Let's just say like 5 cents. 5 cents for example. You say, oh, I can get Doge and it's going to go to $1. Bro, listen, if it has a market cap of $100,000, sorry, what's called $100 million, to get to that $1 will take. I can't do the math in my head, but it's a lot more money in terms of actual what's it called. So I think I don't have any 2 cents on crypto. I think for if you're in it, great. If like Joe said, basically be safe about it. Don't make be the money you're not that you need for your retirement. But at the same time, when you see cryptos that are like, oh, it's only a couple of pennies, or oh, it's only 50 cents, really start to understand things like market cap and really like and how that asset's actually going to move up or down. I know it wasn't part of what we're talking about right now, but I really want to put that out there.
Yeah.
You know what it is that people get enamored very quickly by numbers, right? Or by what's the hottest or the latest. And it's easy to get swept up in this. And what I need people to understand is that literally, like you mentioned, Bitcoin, yeah, it was at 106,000 and the very next day dropped to 95. So if you're banking on that, bro, I'm going to pray for you, because there's no reason why you should bank on that. Nothing that is volatile, and especially crypto. Understand, there's nothing physical about crypto, people. Nothing. There's nothing there. It's all based on a skepticism, based on a wish and a promise and a hope, right? Even Dogecoin with Elon Musk, has risen because he's with Trump. But the reality is that still has gone down as well. So let's be real. You have to keep your expectations realistic. Don't think I'm going to hit lotto. Like when I was growing up, my grandfather, he taught me, I swear to God, in the projects in Manhattan, I knew at age 9 how to read the line on horse racing in Brooklyn, Manhattan on the paper. And that's how they could tell the 3-digit number that was running if you played the bolitero, the guy on the street that collected your dollar and paid you the difference. I swear to God, he had a pad and he wrote numbers down and he took your $1, $2, $3. So it was $1 for Manhattan, $1 for Brooklyn, and it depended on the horse race where they were racing. I knew how to do that, but because I learned as a kid. Don't put yourself in that position. Don't put yourself on a horse race. Hell no.
So look who joined us, who we were talking about.
Wepa, wait a minute. I see white in the background. Where's the darkness?
I'm not in my studio, but I wanted to jump on because I'm already so late. So I figured I'd just jump on from where I'm at because, I'm going to waste more time driving home.
So you came at a perfect time, Lisa. We're talking about crypto. Okay. So Joe was saying that, you shouldn't invest, obviously, if you don't have the money to lose it. JP was saying, a lot of people do invest and they really don't read the market correctly before they even invest. as you know, I do like the crypto. I do believe that it is going to be the currency of the future, just because it's going to make such a difference that you can buy a house maybe in, uh, I don't know, Colombia, and you can do the transaction in seconds instead of, the transfer fee, and everything is just going to be more, since it's going to be on a blockchain, it's going to be more transparent. I don't put money that I don't have. I don't have thousands of dollars, but I try to put a little bit here and there. Some of the crypto that I am invested in is XRP for sure, XLM, HBAR, XDC, Telecoin, which I just bought like 2 weeks ago. I normally always try to research the product first.
Okay.
I do have a little bit of money in Chainlink, VChain, Helium. I wrote them down, and I'm probably not going to pronounce it correctly, but Algorand, and those are the ones that I am invested in.
You
I
didn't say
bought.
Bitcoin.
I do have Bitcoin, but you know
Okay.
what? So I bought. I'm going to say this story really quick. My son is 23. When he was 17 in high school, 17 or 16, he was doing the minding. But I was like, since he jumps from one thing to another, I was like, you're just wasting electricity. And I didn't pay attention to it. If I would have paid attention to it, probably would have been rich by now. So I do have a little bit of Bitcoin, but to be honest, if I had to pick for me between Bitcoin and XRP, I would probably go with the XRP. It's an American crypto. And I don't know, when you start reading about it, like JP, said, you have to read the projects and read everything. If you have $20 to spare, I would put it in XRP. Just $20. You never know from here to 10 or 15 years where it can be.
So I agree with what you're saying partially. Well, all of you, because crypto is very volatile. And, years ago, it's only been about 5 years that I've been investing outside of my 401k and, trying to have an understanding of stocks as well as crypto. And with that, you know, I wasn't using these terms of a crypto winter and the cycles and all of, I didn't have my head around this. So depending on what it is, you can't, not everything, but depending on what it is, XRP is one of those for me, and Bitcoin also. I've been investing into Bitcoin, and I've seen it go from 50,000 to below 20. And now what is it? I don't know what it is right this second, 94. I don't know but you have to be ready to go through that. But that was within a whole 4-year cycle. So if you don't have the stomach for it and you don't have the belief in what you're investing into, then don't do it. And if that is too much of a swing, if you have the amount of money you have in there, if that's too much for you to go through, then you don't have to lose completely. I never go into anything thinking I'm going to lose all of my money, because there is a stop loss. There are features. Even if I am the stop loss, I can determine, okay, it's time for me to cut my losses. I'm never going to be in anything. I'm not diamond handing. I've done it before years ago. I accidentally diamond handed some things, but it's not going to happen again. I am not going to lose all my money, and I'm not going to be 80 or 90% down in an investment, holding and waiting for who knows how long for it to go back up. That's not the type of portfolio that I want. So, but yes, I agree with you. We all have seen it with the president and everything. This administration of all, I've said it in the live that I hosted, that I've adjusted my investing strategy, and it's not just related to crypto. I'm going to adjust my investing strategy based on the administration, and not just that, just whatever economy that we are currently facing. I'm going to adjust it to make sure that I am taking advantage in any way that I can. So
Yep.
So can I just add? I just want to just say something to this. Again, yeah, I guess in the group here, I am the crypto not skeptic, but I would say a cautionary tale here. Um, so when we talk about stocks, everybody would say, I think most people would say, invest in VOO or invest in some type of like long term index fund or something like that, and that's what we would do. But then they say, also have your cryptos, whatnot, because it's going to go to the moon or it's going to go this and that. And this is the reason I brought up market cap earlier. Let's just say back in May 1st, for example, of last year, put $1,000 into no, let's say February of last year. Say February of last year. You put $1,000 into Bitcoin. $1,000. Today, if you put $1,000, it went up about 46% from basically in a year span. So you would have 1,400, whatever the 46% of $1,000 is. I'm guessing everybody here knows what Reddit is. I think everybody here knows that Reddit is a company that makes things that people love. Everybody loves using. They have a lot of users on there. Reddit is a very I wouldn't say micro cap, but a small cap company that's has its IPO'd I think about maybe 2 years ago, and in the same time span of Bitcoin going up that 46%, Reddit, which I'm sure we've all used, has gone up 300. So that $1,000 now becomes $3,000. So like what I'm trying to make is we say stay safe in stocks, but we don't say stay safe in crypto. We say buy your crypto and whatnot. But I think if we're looking for things that, especially things we understand, because I'm sure we all understand Reddit, I'm sure we all understand Google. We're literally using it right now with YouTube. There's all these things in the stock market that we understand that don't have to fluctuate to the same degree, or even are also backed by the U.S. government or whatnot. So I think like while it might be nice to think about the idea of crypto going to whatever the price is, let's think about the things we're already using. Let's think about things that are already out there that might also be just as good and have also a safety net alongside them. So that's not to say don't use crypto, but at the same time, we think about why we're doing it, and is there something alternative out there that I might be more willing to look into. That's my 2 cents on that.
Can I say something? I think I agree with you. And I want to say I do a lot of different things. I do ETFs, I do individual stocks, I do crypto, I do options trading, I do, I'll trade a penny stock, but everything is not for everybody. You have to know what your knowledge level is, what your risk tolerance is. And I think a lot of people just need to evaluate where their retirement is and focus on that and the story. And they don't need to do any of the other stuff. An ETF or, a mutual fund, and focus on that retirement, and don't even you don't have to do you don't have to trade. You do not have to be a trader. You can just focus on your retirement and just leave it alone. But I think, they want to have those big gains, and they hear and they see, and they want to do all of the different type of trading and investing. And it's just not necessary unless you feel that you're ready to put in the work. And, I've made that choice, but my choice is not for everyone.
No, you know what, Lisa? You said it perfectly, because Phil Mo here in the comment, not going to lie, crypto scares the crap out of me. And here's the thing. I think when you're older and you've worked a certain amount of time in your life and you have a certain number of investments, let's say you've done already, and you have certain plans, you tend to be more conservative because you're scared that you're not going to make the money you made back when you were 30 or 40 in your 50s, right? Because you're shutting things down, let's say, for retirement. As one who's retired technically on one side, so I retired from the Board of Ed, I knew going in what my pension was going to be the rest of my life. And I share everything here. I'm transparent 100%. $90,000 a year for the rest of my life. You can't complain.
No way.
Right? So my thing is, um, the way that I go forward is if I'm going beyond my means, I need to make sure I'm good in how I made that money, how I can make up that difference. And it's not always easy. So I'm working, let's say I'm working part-time for a school system that needs help. So I do that. I do this, YouTube, whatever. So you try to do different things because you know that although it's a good amount, it's not what you did and earned when you were 30, 40, or in your early 50s. It's not the same money, especially if you're planning on that retirement. It's never going to be the same. So you do become more conservative, more skeptical, a little bit more afraid. So as the person who's the oldest on this screen, I tell people only do it if you have that extra income, right? That discretionary, that disposable income that you've got, that instead of buying a pair of sneakers, you invest it, or instead of going out to get the restaurant of your choice, you can invest it. Why not? So I gave the example before you came on. I put $400 in because of you, Lisa, because I never thought of this. And I'm at 488, but a week or two ago, it was at 550, right? But if I'm pulling my head going, oh shit, I lost $70. Like if you're counting on that, then you can't do this. If
Yep.
$70 is going to scare you, if $100 is going to scare you, look elsewhere. You can't do this.
Joe, I cannot believe you said that. I really cannot believe you said that. You were not a day over 21.
I love you, JP, and you're lucky you're married because we could have been a couple. But just based on that compliment alone. But thank you, Papi. I love you for that.
Yeah, I do have my like a safety net where I think, okay, if it goes up this much, I'm going to take out this much. If it goes up this much, because if not, it might go up to where you think. But if you never took anything out, until you take that money out, you haven't really won anything or gotten anything. So I do have different thresholds. Like if it gets here, I'll take this out. If it gets here, I'll take, and then I'm going to leave some for the long run,
Right.
2030,
Now that we have
2035.
Lisa here, Lisa, because I know we're coming up on an hour and 20 minutes.
Yes.
Lisa, I want to ask you, so if you could tell everybody tonight, if there's people that are willing to either jump into crypto or a stock based on your professional opinion, what is something that they could look at? No, what is something that they could look at, let's say, long term? That's not going to knock you over the head. That's not going to whip you and make you poor. Something that I could put $100. Let's say I got $100 extra. What would you tell somebody to do?
I would say an ETF, a VOO that tracks the S&P 500, or VTI, that is the entire U.S. stock market. That is the starting point. And depending on what brokerage company you're using, I do my investing into the S&P 500 at Fidelity. So I do FXAIX. So a low
Can you repeat that?
ratio.
Because I'm slow, and I'm sure there's people that be like, eh? So if they want a VTI, how should they do it?
We've been through this before. So the first two that I mentioned, VOO and VTI, are both Vanguard exchange traded funds, ETFs, and they have low expense ratios, and they give you, like I said, one is the top 500 companies, one is the total US stock market. So you're getting that built-in diversification of all these different sectors. It's heavily weighted. Both are going to be heavily weighted in tech because it's set up by market cap. So at the top of it, it's going to be the Microsoft and NVIDIA and Apple. But for a beginner, it's somewhere to get started. And I would say if there's someone that I was talking to was not investing yet, I would tell them not to wait, to get started investing into that, and then from there start learning, and you can expand into other things. But there's no, in my opinion, no reason to wait on getting started investing into a fund like that. And you get paid a quarterly dividend, which you can then reinvest, and that will help you to continue to build up your position.
So I want to thank you.
If you put this in an IRA, this could be, for the future, for retirement, true retirement. Or you can do it in a taxable account that you can tap into, but your money will be growing. And, not like you're sitting it at the Bank of America or the Chase. We can't do that.
So I want people to understand something. When I had you on live, I swear to God, and I'm going to show you in a second, I took everything you said and I put it to work. I took $100 to show people on VTI through Webull, and I use your Webull referral. I'm at 103.83. It is the only one that with $100 in, not even a month in, people have to understand. They're like, oh, it's what's $3? Mi gente, $3. If you have $10,000 in a Chase account that's giving you 0.002 cents, you're going to see that literally 0.002 cents on your statement at the end of the month. I made 383. And this was all because of Lisa. When she mentioned VTI, I went ahead and got it. So I tell people this because the reality is you always have to surround yourself around people that know, people that put it to work, people that put it to use, people that walk the walk, not just that read off some crap off a screen and tell you the latest and the greatest because that's all they know because they saw it on Google. I trusted what Lisa said, and that is why I did that. I did Bitcoin, I did Litecoin, I did XRP, and I did Ethereum because of the young lady you see on your screen. I would have never thought of it, but she was the inspiration behind it. So you need to know what you're doing.
So guys, these are investments. There are going to be times when your investments are going to go down. You have to be ready for that. We all lived through, that C19 and maybe the .com bubble, the 2008, that era. We've lived through some hard times.
JP was in junior high school though in 2009. I just want you to know that.
Okay. And Joe is giving you just a little small snapshot because he just recently invested. But I'm going to tell you, on my VTI, and I have VTI in 2 portfolios. One, I'm up 41.13%. And then the other one, I'm up, I think, 30 point something. So, you have to give your investments time. So don't think that it's going to be overnight. We just came off of 2 really good years, like 23%. 2 years back to back, so you just have to give it a chance. But
you know what, Lisa, but I'm glad you said that, Lisa, because the problem is, unless you're in this space or just like to deal with stocks and things like that, people think it's like playing lotto, like a scratch off. Like, all right, this is the hottest thing ever, and I'm going to make a killing. And they got to understand that that's not reality. Reality is you got to play the long game for the most part with a lot of it. And it has to be money that you're not counting on tomorrow. Because if you think you're going to be rich in 24 hours because the stock is big or whatever, because it has a name, it's just, you're going to kill yourself.
Could happen, but that's trading, and that takes expertise that you probably don't have. But
so I guess we have other people.
The reality is this: should I listen to someone like you that puts it to use, or should I listen to someone that's just regurgitating some crap they found online and are reading it back to me? Which there's a lot of people that do that on this space, in this space. And that's what I'm saying. You've proven to us, you've shown us your own growth. You've shown us your own, investments. And that's what I'm saying. And there's no guarantee, obviously. But the reality is, I'd rather get my information and at least some sort of guidance from someone who puts it to use than someone who's just reading some crap off the internet and is telling me what they think I want to hear.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, depending on what you're investing into, I would almost say there is a guarantee. If you invest into the total US stock market for the next 40 years, I can't see the whole US stock market is not going to fail. America
that
is
happens, we
going
got a
to,
bigger problem.
yes, America is not going to fail as a whole. So you're going to be okay. You just
But that's
need
easy
to-
for you 25-year-olds to say. I'm going to say that right now.
If America, if the stock market in America fails in 40 years, we have a bigger problem
100.
than money.
100.
Focus on your retirement first, guys. First and foremost, focus on that retirement because we're not Joe. I am not Joe, and I know that. So I need to be investing. The pension I'm going to get from the one company that I think I'm going to be entitled from one, it's nothing to talk about. So I know I need to invest. I need to focus on real estate investments and just planning because I'm not going to be able to live off of a $1,500 Social Security check.
Lisa, I'm glad you said that because I tell my friends, I have a lot of friends that, work as attorneys, as in different corporate positions, and they make a ton of money. But they've also had to sacrifice family time, right? Not being there for certain things, really wondering what the next, how they're going to be in retirement. Yeah, I didn't make all that money up front, like I told people, but the reality is I knew my set number a few years ago before I pulled the trigger and did it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a difference of how you go about it. So working, let's say, for the government of the state or the city of New York, like I did, it came with certain benefits. Yeah, you put up with some crap, but the long game was what I played. I played 35 years of a long game to get to this spot. So it's not like I didn't sacrifice it.
No,
Yeah,
I didn't mean that's not what
no,
I was
no.
saying. Okay.
My point is I love what you're saying because I have friends of mine that are like still working hard because they're like, I'm making good money, but damn it, I like to spend a lot too. That's what they tell me. They're like,
that's what I was going to say. They're living beyond their means.
yes, 100. And that's what I'm like, bro, you got to pull that back somehow if you want to be 65 and retire.
Yep.
Literally. I was 54, Lisa, when I stopped. And I'm blessed that I can't complain on where I'm at.
You are, Joe.
I'm not rolling in the Benz, but the reality is,
Who wants the Benz? Who wants that maintenance and all of that? Those little changes.
Thank you. I'm saying this because I knew that was going to be your answer. I want people to understand that the material crap, the shit that you see that people like to post and flex and record, is not real life.
No.
For 99% of the people, it's just not. I want people to understand that depending on the type of job you have and what you're doing, your life is going to be different. It might be the baller life in the future if you made that kind of money, and it may not be, because I have a lot of friends of mine that are attorneys that are still struggling to pay the rent the next month. So my thing is, that's why investing is important, but you got to do it within your means, with a purpose and a goal, not to think like it's lotto that you're going to hit that shit the next month and you're going to be golden. No.
Yep.
I'm surprised. I wasn't listening at the beginning of the show, but you guys are really talking like my language tonight, not so much credit card stuff.
This was purposely done by your girl there, Jackie.
Yeah,
Okay.
we put it in the description, crypto and stocks for Lisa.
Yo, it was all you. I swear to God. I texted Sledge. I was like, Sledge, help me. Where's Lisa? I swear to God. I was like, I don't play
Anyway,
that game. If I don't know it, I ain't gonna say it. It's as simple as that. So, but
anyway,
this has been
guys,
fire. You know, Jackie, you really put this out there, and Lisa and JP. I love this because it's reality. I don't like fake YouTube content that just shows you one side and it's all unicorns and butterflies and rainbows. No, let's talk the reality of it, that if something goes wrong, it's a real hard left, and then you got to deal with the mess after it.
Yep. 100%.
JP, what do you got to say, puppy?
No, I mean, I think for the most part, I agree with 95% of everything that was said here. Again, like I think when it comes to there's two things. One, I want to go back to the idea of what Joe was saying earlier in terms of the friends like not getting it, not having the money overall. I think that is less of a I need to know how to invest, and more I need to know how, like I was saying earlier, I need to know how to maintain my cash flow. Because if you understand maintaining your cash flow, even if you're not investing, you can be you'll be saving money over time in my mind. And two, like I think that for most people, like Lisa was saying, I think an index fund is like all you really need. Don't really try to think about a broad market index fund. All you really need. Don't worry about anything else. Like, because like that, you're not going to beat the market. Just follow America, honestly. And after that, when it comes to like, at least this is because I got into this whole idea of everything once. I feel kind of dumb saying it now, but like when the whole GameStop meme thing was happening, I really started like diving headfirst into what all of this stuff was. And the more I got to see about it, is that like investing is not some crazy thing that we don't know about. Like there are things out there that we do know. We do know the Reds. We do know McDonald's. We do know certain things. We don't have to know what Tesla's doing, even I think the cars are trash. We don't have to know what all these other things are happening.
That hurt.
So listen, man, the Cybertruck is not. I give Tesla 5 years personally, but either way, when we really start taking a step back and really thinking about like what's actually happening to make these stocks go up, what's actually happening to make the money increase. It's not increasing out of nowhere. It's not magic. People are going and buying things, and they're buying them again and again, or they're using repeat services. The companies make money, and once they make money, they can either give it back to shares, they can reinvest in the company, and that's how the thing goes up. So when we talk about like, Bitcoin or something like that, for example, my hesitation is, well, what's it actually producing? Well, we can say, it's going to be, it's going to take over, what's it called, the dollar. Well, there's many other cryptos out there that can probably be better. So then you say, okay, I'm going to hedge everything. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. But well, now you're diluting your money because you're because not everything some things might go up, some things might go on down. So at the end of the day, I don't know. I really think when it comes to this space, kind of like Lisa was saying, everybody's different. Everybody needs to, but I think you really, when you're going into it, really ask yourself, what type of person am I? Am I the type of person who can do these things? Am I a person who can trade, who can invest in individual stocks, am I not that type of person? And that's okay also. But I think in terms of this type of space, I really hope that the thing that people take away from this is like, not I want to do something because it's going to get me rich or something like that, but like I'm going to do it because this is the person I am. It's what I'm comfortable with doing. That's like I hope that's what people take away from this.
So we had Chad join us.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, Chad.
That's a Pharaoh. What's good, Chad?
I literally just took a break because the conversation, because I'm at work, but it's after hours, so it's no big deal. Sun setting on Rosecrans out here in LA. I've been listening to this, and I might even get a little long-winded, but there's a couple things I want to touch on. I'm an avid trader. I'm an avid investor. I am an avid researcher of companies, period. There are companies I've owned for 2 weeks. There are companies I've owned for, well, considerably longer. Here's the thing. Investing is something that scares a lot of working people, like all the people on the screen, like the majority of people. The 99% tend to be scared of investing because of one word, intangibility. If you go to Kmart, if you go to the 7-Eleven, if you go to Walmart, if you go to Home Depot, you can buy a thing and it's right here in your hand. You know what I mean? You buy a box of screws, you got screws. You buy a Slurpee, you have the Slurpee. The problem is that working people, they trade their time for tangible money. But the thing is that when they invest, they're investing in something that a lot of people don't get taught from the beginning, and that's equity. Equity gets you rich, not saving. You can't get rich saving. You can't. You can't get rich working for someone else. You can't. Period. You don't. Nobody can argue that point with me. I will take that to my grave. But equity has a historical way of giving you, it outpaces inflation. You make more on your money than you invested. And that's just it. But a lot of people don't understand equity. They understand this for that because that's what they were taught at their job. So like when I was younger, and I'm gonna date myself here, we used to get a catalog at the house that a lot of older people are familiar with. There was a time where you could buy a house out of this special catalog. It's called the Sears catalog. Most people over 40 remember the Sears catalog. Everybody knows it. At really in earlier 1900s, you could buy a house out of the Sears catalog. And where's Sears now? You know what I'm saying? Whereas in the 80s, Apple, nobody had an Apple. Nobody had an Apple. But I can guess right now, probably at least half of the 4 people on the screen are holding an iPhone or have an Apple product within arm's reach. Boom. So then when you get questions of like Joe asked, what would you tell somebody? And poor Lisa, she gets this a lot, and I be feeling bad for her because it puts her on the spot. But what would you tell somebody to invest in if they want this and they want that? Even Lisa's strategy of investing in index funds and ETFs, that may actually be too complicated for someone who is scared of intangibility, because now you're not telling me one company, you're telling me I can invest in a whole economy. Sometimes those things are too big for people's brains to understand. You get what I'm saying? So like I deal in what's possible and what's probable. Did anybody think Sears was going to fail? No. Did it? Yeah. Could Apple fail tomorrow? Is it possible? Yeah. Is it probable? Probably not. You get what I mean? So like when I tell people you want to invest in what you know. What do you use every day? What do you use today that your grandfather used when he was your age? Chances are you probably want to invest in Procter & Gamble because they have the Gillette razor that your grandfather used. You get what I'm saying? It's that common sense deal to get people more comfortable. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, there's no investment that's safe. Period. Even our dollars, our money, $20, $50, $100, they're not based on anything. They might as well be crypto. The only difference is you can fold a $100 bill. That's it. They're predicated on one thing: customer confidence. The reason Bitcoin is $106,000 because it's popular. That's it. That's all. The reason if I throw a $100 bill in the middle of a gas station, most likely somebody will push their mother down to grab it. It's because it's popular. I mean, that's just me keeping it real. You know, so I think everyone should invest. I think more people need to understand the meaning of equity and how equity puts your money to work 24 hours a day, because ownership beats consumerism 11 times out of 10. Period. And that's what investing is. It's using your money to buy equity. And don't get me wrong, you can't buy a couple of shares of Apple, walk into Cupertino and snatch a pencil off of Tim Cook's desk and say, this is mine, I own stock. But you do have equity in what the company brings in. Like I base my research off of free cash flows. I need to know that companies are solvent. And I mean, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole and just start throwing around a bunch of terms, but I mean, everybody has their thing. But at the baseline of it, you have to understand that you are buying equity. You can't see equity. You can only exercise equity. And that's how you get your money. But that's just my 2 cents I want to drop in.
I agree. 100%. How about you guys? You guys are quiet there.
Don't be afraid to invest. And, the investments that I mentioned, those are more of a set it and forget it kind of a thing, where if something happened and you couldn't look at your investments for 5 years, that if you came back to it, I feel that most likely you will be okay, unless we were in the middle of, COVID lockdown or something like that, or something extreme. But even with that, it will recover. But, don't be afraid, and know where you're at in your investing journey. If you're willing to put in some work, but there's lots of names like Chad mentioned, like that are well-known, established: Apple, Microsoft, Home Depot, like Walmart. If you want to dabble into those individual stocks, but you don't have to do that. And I don't know. But I'm glad that some people that have dabbled into individual stocks that I've talked to and didn't even know what an ETF was, they invested into NVIDIA and Amazon and Apple, so they wind up being okay, instead of some of those, the GameStop and those things that are not investments, that are trades.
I'll because I actually go soon, but I would just say I 100% agree. And also, like, I think the thing about, especially if you are a working person who has a full-time job, you're probably already investing with a 401k. So, like, I think like making contributions to that, or a Roth IRA or something like that. I mean, I don't know too much about the Roth part, but especially the 401k, having employer matches, that would be, like, at least for me, the simplest way of investing into the stock market without having to think about it personally. But yeah, I do have to. Sorry, go ahead.
Even with that, I like to give encouragement. Don't just contribute. Don't just put your 4% or 8%, whatever you're contributing. Don't just contribute. You have to look at it. You have to
True.
know those. You have to know those fees. You have to dig deep and find out. If it's. I've been in. I had some money from the first company that I worked at, and I was not paying attention, and I think I should have $100,000 more today than I currently do, because I was in a very poorly performing target dated fund for quite a while before I got that resolved, and thankfully now it's thriving. And but yeah, don't just sign up and just default to the whatever it is. Make sure that you do some legwork there, and set a standard for yourself as to what you expect the performance to be, because I understand that depending on your age and all of that, and the limitations that the funds may have, if it's a 403b or 401k, but just make sure that you're doing the best for yourself, because if the stock market performance on that particular year was 0.4%, what was your retirement account doing during that same year? That's what I want you to know.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that part up, because that was like one of the things that when I first got my I think it was a 403b account. When I went to check it, they had a target date firm for like 2055, which was like a mix of stocks and bonds and stuff like that, which was not going to, touch the market. And you can change, like Lisa was saying, you can change those allocations. I think I changed it to like a gross fund from Vanguard or something like that. So yeah, it's definitely important to have. Don't just don't listen to what I say right there. Listen to what Lisa said on that part. Get it, but also make sure you're seeing what you're allocating. But yeah, guys, this was actually fun. I have to head out, but thank you guys for all having me on.
Thank you, JP, for your time.
Thank you, puppy.
See y'all later. Peace.
Good night.
Good night, Papa. God bless you.
Look let me add something to piggyback off of what Lisa said, right? And I always try to relate because I'm a working person, and I always try to relate everything to working people. Those are the people. Those are my cohorts. Have I met independently wealthy people? Absolutely. Is that my normal milieu? No, those are not normally the people I hang with. I don't qualify to hang with those people because I don't understand their lifestyle or I can't relate. But one thing that Lisa said that is very poignant. You need to find out what your minimum acceptable rate of return is. You have a lot of people that do everything on one part of the equal sign, don't understand what's going on the other end of the equal sign. And the minute they lose a little money, they simply discount the stock market, they discount investing, they discount equity because, oh, well, it doesn't work because there's some magic voodoo. If you go to work and you apply for a job, you want to know how much you make an hour. That is your minimum. You're not going to let them pay you less. If they say they're going to pay you $20 an hour, I don't know a single person that says, all right, you're going to pay me $20 an hour, I'll do it for 15. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. You either want what they say they're going to pay you or more. So like when you go in to investing, and this is for people who are watching who may be curious, understand how much money do I want to make? What percent do I want to make? Do I want to keep up with inflation? A lot of these apps will tell you this is what you've made. You know what I mean? A lot of the times people worry about like Warren Buffett and the Peter Lynches and the Charlie Mungers. These are world famous investors. It's not because they invest. They did what everybody does. That's not what's special about them. It's because they made money when everybody wasn't. It's because they maintained a minimum acceptable rate of return. I'm not selling this until I can make or I can translate this into X amount of percent from what I invested. Mm-hmm. And that will force you to seriously look at what it is that you're investing in. You know what I mean? A lot of people, even though NVIDIA is a high flying stock, most people on the street, if I ask them what NVIDIA does, they can't tell me. But they can tell me what Chevron sells. They can tell me, you know, what their favorite detergent is. They can tell me what their favorite phone is. They know what those companies do. That's why I stress to people, invest in what you know. And another thing that Joe and Lisa said, time is the secret ingredient.
Yep.
That's the secret ingredient. It's time. Don't go put time in on your job and expect to be rich in the stock market overnight. That doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. But let me get off my soapbox. And by the way, my minimum acceptable rate of return is 15%, which I've beaten every year. If I don't make 15% out of it, if I don't see it, I don't touch it. Compounded year over year. But that's just me, though.
Thank you, puppy.
This has been a very interesting conversation.
It has a lot of different perspectives for sure.
Yeah.
But I blame you ladies, all right? I blame both of you. I'm telling you, I'm going to be honest with you. It took me at my age now to feel comfortable and get me out of that zone to hear people like you, Jackie, like you, Lisa, know and do certain things where I said, you know what, I could take this risk with this and just try it, you know. And I'm going to be honest with you, I love it because you always want to keep growing no matter what. You always want to keep learning no matter what. And that's the takeaway for me from all of this tonight has been that at the very least, if you can get that, you're ahead of the game.
Yep. 100%. I agree with you, Joe. Guys, it's been a super interesting night. We're almost at 2 hours. I can't even believe it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, I just want to say thank you guys for having me on because I'm about to get on this piece of machinery and it's going to get really loud. So
go work out, baby. Go work out, papa.
Man, hey man, I gotta get on this lift and go up and
thank you, Chad.
work with some stuff. Thank you so much, you guys, for having
Love you, puppy.
me on.
Be good, Chad.
You guys take it easy. Hey, and everybody, let's see them likes and where them super chats at. I haven't seen any super chats. Let's get them super chats up. Let's get them likes up. All right, you guys, take it easy. Love you guys.
Love you, puppy.
Lisa, I am so glad that you joined at the perfect time when you joined, because that's when we started talking about the crypto.
I heard my name. I heard my name. I heard you say, "Oh, Lisa's not here," and I was like, "I'm just gonna have to go. I'm just have to take my phone and turn it on. You know, find something to hold up my phone and jump on."
Thank you, both of you guys for tonight,
Thank you.
and hopefully we can do this again soon. It's been
Thank
fun.
you.
Yes.
You're an amazing
Thank
host,
you.
Jackie. Thank you, my
And
love.
I
Lisa,
just
thank
want
you for hauling butt and doing this because I know when your work finishes, I get it. So thank you, ladies. I
and I
appreciate
just
it.
want to tell everybody in the chat, thank you, and thank you for joining in. It was my second time hosting it, so I got better today. So I couldn't, keep up with the comments and everything at the same time. But I appreciate everybody.
Thank you, Mama.
Good night, guys.
Good night, mi gente. Take care.
Okay, so